when I'm lonely in the dark. I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much? Don't you see that I love you so much? Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love. Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm a minute late. Took a little bit of time to make my cup of coffee. So, first of all, welcome to Carter's Corner Daily. I'm your host, Travis Carter, obviously. Been a bit of an interesting one today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 press releases since 6 a.m. this morning. So they're punching them out about one an hour, which is not a bad effort. Couple of interesting ones coming up. So I don't want to make this one a 3-hour show, so I'll jump straight into it. But it should be interesting. I'm kind of excited to see what's coming in. So let's jump straight into it. The first one we have, which I'm kind of excited about. Why are you going to that screen? We want this one. Let's get rid of that one. So we will be having a chat with, and by chat I mean looking at his press release. That's not supposed to be on. And that one, and then we turn that on. So we have Stephen Dawson, MLC. So this is a press release as he is pretending to be the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs. So street banners celebrate National Reconciliation Week. So my understanding is Pride Week, National Reconciliation Week, Sorry Day, all those sort of things. So for those who don't know what Sorry Day is, there was a thing the British government told the Australian government to start taking Aboriginal children from people's houses, and apparently, I haven't seen the statement, so I'm going by what people are telling me. Apparently, the British government actually put it into a memo, and they something along the lines of "let's breed them out," because they couldn't go and kill all the Aboriginal, so they wanted to breed them out. So they were planning to take all the kids from people's homes. Hopefully, that way they'd have less influence with their natural heritage, like their parents. And so, in the hope that they'd start breeding with British citizens, and therefore they'd become less Aboriginal, and eventually they just wouldn't be Aboriginal anymore. And that's probably where the term I saw this for the Black Lives Matter rally. So there was a whole heap of cup of teas, and it says it doesn't matter how much milk you put in your tea; it's still a cup of tea. So they're implying that it doesn't matter how much Caucasian or different races you have as your mixed breed, as long as you're Aboriginal, like a certain, like you've got Aboriginal descendancy, you're still Aboriginal. You can still claim to be Aboriginal. So, and that's probably where that guy who pretends to be British grandparents on both sides of the family, he's more Caucasian than me, claims to be Aboriginal. Whether he is or not, I don't know. So we'll see. Anyway, so we are currently doing National Reconciliation Week, which I don't mind too much, but I don't like the story behind it. So they're blaming the Australian government for what the British government did. So when the Solid Generation, it was actually the British government that told the Australian government, because it was still under control of the Governor General at the time, So it should have been the British government saying sorry to the Aboriginal people, and there's been absolutely nothing coming from the Brits. So they've just gone, no, not our problem. It's Australia. You deal with it, and that's why Kevin Rudd ended up saying sorry. I don't think he should have. I think that should have come from the Queen herself. So apparently it came all the way from the top. So anyway, getting into it. So 122 organisations sponsored more than 310 banners through the Reconciliation Week Street Banner Project. Theme for this year is more than a word. Reconciliation takes action. From both sides. Organisations from across Western Australia are showing their commitment to and support for reconciliation by sponsoring a banner through Reconciliation Week Street Banner Project. Now is the 10th year. 122 organisations have sponsored more than 310 banners through the program across the Perth CBD and 17 local government areas. This year's banner features stunning artwork by Aboriginal artist TJ Thomas Warrigal. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. I'm really bad with some of these names. Now living in Perth, TJ was born in Derby and raised in Yili in Gooniyandi country. Gooniyandi. He was taught to paint by many family elders and now views the creation of his art as an important way to pass on knowledge and continue cultural traditions. So this is really important because Aboriginal people didn't actually have a language, like a written language. So all their stories, everything was passed on through cave paintings, and where you see those caves and they've got all those hands everywhere and the weird pictures of faces and stuff like that. That's actually got meaning to them. So that's why they're considered sacred sites, and they're really, really important that we preserve them, because that's like preserving things like the Bible or the Jewish religious texts, the scriptures from the Egyptian times and all that sort of stuff. This is effectively their form of the Bible. I love these cave paintings. So this is how they tell their story. That's how they tell the history, and all that sort of stuff. It's also how they teach their children how to speak their native dialects, because they don't actually have it written down. So moving on. His artwork references the burning of country, rebirth, regrowth, and beauty, and also exhibits at the 2019 Revealed Emerging Aboriginal Artists Expedition. So this is actually a really, really important one. So the burning of country, rebirth, growth, and beauty. So the thing is, a lot of the Aboriginal communities used to hunt by setting fires in the bush, and as the smoke would smoke out all the animals, they'd hunt the animals for food. The fires were very, very small, controlled, and it helped to control the underbrush. So you didn't have these massive raging bushfires that we have in Australia now. It's thanks to a lot of Caucasian and Western settlement. They said, no, we can't do that. It's bad for the environment. We've got to stop the burning. Well, actually, a vast majority of Australian native plants will not germinate the seeds unless they're actually set on fire. Gum tree is a prime example of that. So fire is actually a requirement to healthy Australian bushland. You need fires. There's actual certain trees that are actually designed to catch fire. They've got a very low ignition rate, so when they get hit by lightning, stuff like that, they'll actually combust into fire. So stopping burn-offs and all that sort of stuff is bad for the environment. You actually need to do it. National Reconciliation Week is celebrated across Australia every year from May 27th to June 3rd. This year's reconciliation message is more than a word. Reconciliation takes action, urging the reconciliation movement towards braver and more impactful action. The Department of Local Government, Sports, Cultural Industries coordinates the Street Banner Project, partnering with local councils and sponsoring the displays and banners in prominent location across WA. So comments from Steve Dawson. The theme of this year's Reconciliation Week is fitting given the cultural current climate across the world. People are becoming less tolerant of prejudice and ready to take action. I actually disagree with that. I think a lot of more people are actually becoming prejudiced against ideas. So the whole concept of anti-discrimination is not, you're not allowed to discriminate against people on the left. You're not allowed to discriminate, full stop. So if someone turns around and says, for example, there's so many conservatives at the moment on Facebook, YouTube, and all the different social media platforms that are getting banned because they dare to speak about their opinions. For example, Donald Trump got banned off Twitter. Craig Kelly in Australia got banned from Facebook. So these are actual sitting members of Parliament or the US legislation, US. I forget what they're called, politicians. Like the president of America got banned because he stated his opinion. So that is straight out prejudice against someone with a political belief. So if you're trying to stop prejudice, no, I think at the moment society is way more prejudiced than before. But what's happening is it's a very targeted prejudice. So Steve Dawson in some of his posts before has shown that he's very, very on the left side of things. No, I don't take offense, but I think he's full of shit. Sorry about my language, but yeah, he's full of shit. The Reconciliation Week banner project is a great way for organisations to show their commitment to active, peaceful, meaningful change. So there's a very, very important word there. Peaceful. So the Black Lives Matter protest where they were destroying houses and all that sort of stuff, destroying statues, that's not peaceful under any circumstances. If you want a real conciliation, you need to work together to form an understanding. But this works both ways. So having an Attorney General who's told the Western Australian Police, do not touch Aboriginal children if they're under the age of 12, if they do a crime, just let them go. Don't even bother prosecuting them. But yet if it's a white kid, they're going to throw the book at them and then pull the parents in for questioning and make them pay for the damages. So that form of prejudice against one group or another is just not acceptable. So sorry, Minister Steve Dawson, you're full of shit. Oh, we have comments. Oh no, the president can't have an opinion. Yes, very, very true. Yes, Trump said stuff, but people have their own free will and minds of their own. 100% agree. And welcome to the stream, Inferno Insomnia. Great fire twirler. She's got some really cool videos, so make sure you go look her out. She's got her own Twitch channel as well. So welcome to the stream. I'm going to throw this out to you, Taz. Do you know if Tony's going to jump on or is he back at work? All right, so keep going while Taz answers this. Okay, reconciliation is a journey, and I encourage everyone to keep reconciliation at the forefront of their minds, not only this week, but every week. So there's a really, really easy way to stop prejudice. Just don't take race into account. Hopefully it's not Corona, Taz. So she's just saying that he's got the cold. Cold cooties. Yay, lovely. You can keep Tony. We'll catch up for a coffee another time. See, coffee is love. Okay, so this guy, just because he is boosting a group above everyone else, what's happening is he's discriminating against everyone else. So you're creating a divide which is going to encourage more prejudice against each other. So you need to stop isolating certain groups within the community. You need to just focus everyone, treat every action that they do based on their deeds. So if there's a person whose mum's on crack, they haven't eaten for a week because she keeps spending the money on alcohol, drugs, whatever, and they need help, race doesn't come into it. It's if you need help, you get help. It's as simple as that. And the sooner the government learns that, I think the sooner we're going to start bridging those gaps between them and us. And when I say them and us, it's a terminology that I've started using because every time you put a divide in there, so whether it's men and women, Caucasians versus Aboriginals, or upper class versus lower class, all those sort of things, you're creating that divide, whether you intend to or not. So you need to stop labeling people and you just need to start treating each situation based on its merits. So for example, let's say you're a firefighter and you're applying for a job. You can't say, right, we have to have X amount of women in this workforce. You go, right, you're saving people's lives. This is the minimum strength requirements you have. This is the minimum fitness requirements you have. This is the minimum of whatever, and best person for the job. Same as nursing side of things. You need certain aspects and you need certain characteristic traits to be the best nurse that you can be. So it should be the best person for the job. You shouldn't be making, what's the word I'm looking for? Quotas are just stupid. It brings down the quality of the work astronomically and it doesn't work. Okay, here we go. Together we can build greater mutual understanding, respect and appreciation of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, histories, achievements, arts and culture. See, I actually don't mind that. Again, I don't like the fact that he's singling out a single race or two race, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander. I don't know if the Torres Strait Islander people consider themselves Aboriginal or not. I actually don't know. I know Fijians and Maoris, or Maldives as they call themselves, but I've never actually met someone from the Torres Strait Islands, which is kind of strange. So I don't know if that's an eastern state thing or not. I don't know if they consider themselves Aboriginals or if they consider themselves Torres Strait Islanders. So either way. One thing that I'd really, really love to see, instead of learning about American histories in our schools, I really want to start getting Aboriginal history, major events that have happened in Australia in and around, because there was some really, really bad atrocities that happened. There was one in Tasmania where they were throwing people off cliffs. There's all sorts of things, and I think that needs to be put into schools, not American history. Anyway. Here we go. Taz put a comment. I know a white mum who spent all her dollars on drugs and none of the food on her kids. Race definitely doesn't matter. No, 100%. And she's also said, I don't think she's ever met a Torres Strait Islander either. So, either way, like, you know, they're like the Aboriginals were one of the original people in Australia. So I'd like to see more of that history put into our schools rather than the crap that we got at the moment. Does anyone really care what happened in Waterloo in like 1215 or whatever? I don't think it actually has much relevance to Australia, so I don't know if it should. Like, it could be if you're studying history as a major or something, but not like in lower school, because when I was at primary school, we had no Aboriginal history. We had very, very little Australian history, a little bit about Banjo Patterson, but that was all poetry. It wasn't actual real events. But yeah. Next one, we got a comment here from the Honourable John Kerry, MLA, Minister for Local Government. Want to make a difference? Consider running for your local council this September. Oh, beautiful. Council elections are coming up. And yes, I will be running for the Shire of Armidale. Why? Because it's like $80. My whole platform is going to be, I'm running for council to give the current councillors the shits. There's going to be no policy. There's going to be nothing like that. I'm purely there to rip into the councillors and to call out their crap. Yeah, armour hole, exactly. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I will be running for local council this year. So campaign for 2021 local government election begins. Community members being called upon to consider nominating themselves for council. Nominations open on September 2nd, 2021. So that's a little bit far away. People with diverse backgrounds encouraged to come forward. Local government minister John Kerry, Jim Carrey, is calling on the community members to consider nominating themselves for candidates in upcoming elections to be held on October 16. So that is not actually much time between, 6 weeks between September and October. It comes as the Department of Local Government, Sports, Cultural Industries, in partnership with the Western Australian Local Government Association, today begins the 2021 local government election campaign. So why are they starting the campaign when nominations haven't even opened? That's interesting. Mr. Kerry emphasizes the importance of people with diverse backgrounds and experiences to be represented in local councils. This includes Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, women, people from culturally diverse backgrounds, people with disabilities, and young people aged 18 years and over. So you've got to be 18 to actually run. I find it a little bit strange that they've singled out women. What about transgender people? So yeah, you homophobe Jim Carrey, because you didn't put people who are not binary in their comments. By the way, that's a joke. People from culturally diverse backgrounds, yeah, that's fine. People with disabilities, haha, that's me. And young people who are 18 years and over, haha, that's me. I still identify as a young person out all of 37. In the 2019 election, 35% of the people that nominated were women, while the average age of the candidates was 54 years of age. That's a little bit interesting, actually. So we've got a lot of fossils in there, not many younger people. All right, so people over 18 and probably under 54, get off your backside. Jump in, give your local council the shits. Seriously, I think it's like $80 to nominate. It's really, really cheap. Let's have a look here. Anyone intending to nominate for election must first complete a free online induction course, which is available at Department of Local Government, Sports and Cultural Industries website out blah 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 blah. The induction courses provides a basic understanding of the function and responsibilities of a council member, includes information on laws that govern the way that an individual must conduct their election campaign. Cool. Just so you guys know, Tony, who I don't know if he's in the chat or not, has run for before. I think it was the Kwinana. Hopefully he's running again, because I think he would make a phenomenal councillor. So I really hope he does run again. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if Taz can answer that one for us. The induction has been recently revised and updated with new and additional content, including information on the recently introduced Code of Conduct of candidates, council members, and committee members. This is going to be really interesting, because the board out 89.7 got pressured by the Shire of Wanneroo, I think it was Shire of Wanneroo, to remove me. Now, I found out that Sue Mick, and this is from her own mouth, is extremely good friends with the Mayor of City of Wanneroo, and it actually came from her that she advised us that they were threatening to withdraw funding if they didn't cancel the show. So that's going to be interesting. Tony's watching TikTok. I can't stand TikTok. It's just I liken it to kiddie porn. It's just a whole heap of young kids doing things that are highly inappropriate. Anyway, prospective candidates are encouraged to regularly check the department's website for updates about induction requirements and other matters related to the local election. Nominations for the October elections open on the 2nd of September 2021 and close at 4 p.m. on September the 9th. So they're only open for about a week. So comments from John Kerry. From my personal experience as Mayor of the City of Vincent, I can vouch that representing your community as a local council member is an amazing experience, and reading between lines, and pays a lot of money. And a real opportunity to make a difference. If you have ideas to make your community a better place to live and do business, I strongly encourage you to consider putting yourself forward, especially those people from groups historically underrepresented in local councils. So let's paraphrase this for him. If you want to get paid a crap load of money to do sweet FA, definitely run for local councils. The whole reason I'm running for local councils, I find that it's a huge waste of money having a local council. I want to question everything they do, how much they charge, all that sort of stuff. It's been told to me unofficially that someone like the Mayor of the City of Wanneroo, with all her little add-ons, is getting about $280,000 a year just by being a councillor. So it's a massive waste of money for the Western Australian government. I think it's an absolute joke, and that's the whole reason why I'm going to be running as a joke, because local council should be dealing with rubbish, roads and recreation, nothing else, and they keep going into all these other things like change the date and all this other crap, and it's just stupid. All right, more comments. TikTok is rather annoying. I've been duped into it because my daughter's got it. Then Tony got it, so it was more peer pressure. There's a lot of accounts on TikTok that are annoying. Yeah, I question TikTok's age restrictions on it. I had it for about 20 minutes because a friend of mine said you got to get it, and within 20 minutes I deleted it. It was not my idea of fun. In 2019, only 35% of the people nominated for council were women, and on average, we've already done that. I like to see more women, young people, and those living with disabilities, and people from culturally diverse backgrounds putting up their hands. Having more diversity in the local government can bring enormous benefits, including better decision making and the ability to draw on a wider range of experiences and skills. The local government elections are significant in that they are the first ordinary elections since the commencement of the pandemic. Didn't we have the WA election? I thought the WA state election was an ordinary election. Anyway, I could be wrong on that one. We're looking for local council members who can play an active and important role in assisting their communities to recover from the impact of COVID-19. Again, the local council should have absolutely nothing to do with the recovery from COVID-19. Their job is rates. So roads, recreation, and rubbish. That's all they've got to deal with. That's the job of the council. Everything else is state or federal. So, dude, you're a muppet. Sorry, you're a muppet. Well, it's kind of accurate because it is Jim Carrey. And the question about Jason. Was there a question about Jason? Hang on, I'm just going back through these questions. Hey Taz, I didn't see the question about Jason. Do you mind sending it through for us? All right, let's go into the next one. Open. Now, there is a way to get these comments up in the chat. But I don't know how, so I'll sort that out later. So the question was, okay, so I don't think Tony's going to run for council again. However, I've heard a rumor that Jason was planning to run for council at some point in the future. Okay, so Jason is one of my volunteers. He's actually a Patreon as well. So thank you, Jason, for that. Well, if he's running for council, I'll help him how I can. But yeah, I'll be running for Armidale. But yeah, no, I think Jason would be running Baldivis. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to talk to Jason. I was planning to call him tomorrow. So anyway, we got a new one up. I do need to quickly smash these out because there are so many of them. So let's have a look here. We have my local member of government, the Honourable Dr. Tony Booty, MLA. New Western Australian procurement framework enacted. The McGowan government cuts more red tape on the new Western Australian procurement framework in effect of June 1st, 2021. So that's today. The framework makes it easier for small and medium businesses to work with government, responds to recommendations in the Service Priority Review and Special Inquiry into Government Programs and Projects. Framework is supported by the Western Australian Social Procurement Framework, which prioritises community-based outcome. I think this might be just one of those fluff ones. The McGowan government's new Western Australian procurement framework is now in effect, cutting red tape. The framework, which is supported by the Procurement Act 2020, brings together goods and services and works procurement under one piece of legislation. This enables more streamlined procurement policies and practices to be set out and makes the state government procurement landscape easier to understand. The changes respond to the recommendations from the Service Priority Review and Special Inquiry into the Government Programs and Projects. These reviews found the previous procurement framework was fragmented and difficult for practitioners to supply and suppliers to navigate. Wow. Done that one. The Act is also supported by the Western Australian Social Procurement Framework, which that's more fluff. The focus on community-based outcomes will create more local jobs, better support WA's region, improve engagement in the Aboriginal businesses. Yay! So let's isolate Aboriginals out again. I understand that there's a lot of people in the Aboriginal community that needs help, but you shouldn't be labelling people. I'm sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. There are also provisions in the debarment regime for a debarment regime. The debarment regime is vital in ensuring the state government only works with ethical suppliers and contractors. Okay, here's a question for you. Who determines whether someone's ethical or not? And we will ensure that these businesses have the best opportunity to work with the government. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that. I think it should be up to the ACCC or the CCC to determine whether a business is ethical or not. They should have code of conducts and workplace practices to determine what's ethical and not ethical. I think this is just the WA government trying to overreach again, trying to lead into the federal elections, saying, hey, look at us, we're so great, we can do the federal government's job, so let's make WA its own country. That's something I've been noticing quite recently. The debarment regime is expected to be introduced later this year. Extensive consultation with government agencies and industries was undertaken prior to the framework being introduced and has developed new efficient procurement documents and guidance materials. For more information, go to this website. Yeah, it's just more fluff. I think it's just a case of Dr. Tony Booty trying to stay relevant now that the election's over. Um, it's just nothing in it, really. It's just change of paperwork. I don't know if that was actually required to be a press release, but anyway, moving on. Okay, more comments. I don't think it's anytime soon. Just something I heard is all. Yeah, I'll give Jason a call later. Again, Jason's another one. I think he would make a great councillor for the city of Beldivis. Is Beldivis considered a city or is it just a town? Because I know the population's getting up there, but I don't know if they've reached the city status yet. So, all right, let's have a look here. And we got another one from Dr. Booty. Booty. All right, so community scores in McGowan government latest round of sports grants. Can anyone say pork barreling? Community Sporting and Recreation Facilities Fund, CSRFF, applications open on June 1st, 2021. Today, 12.5 million available in new playing surfaces, upgrades to change rooms with a focus on women's change rooms, improvement to club rooms. Can anyone else say sexism? New 2.5 million Club Night Lights program also opens on June 1st, delivering on McGowan government election commitments. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the fact that sport is such an integral thing within the Australian society and our culture, like especially the Caucasian side of things. Actually, no, and all sides actually. So you have a look at people like Peter Bell, half Asian, playing for the Fremantle Dockers. The Aboriginal representation in the AFL compared to their population as a whole is astronomical. They are such great natural sports people. Some of our greatest runners, like Kathy Freeman, is Aboriginal. So our whole entire, if you have a look at how many world-class sports athletes we have versus our population, we're right up there with the best in the world. Our sports programs are phenomenal. The Australian Institute of Australian Institute of Sports over, I think it's in Canberra, is absolutely phenomenal, like top rate. It's insane, like just awesome. So spending money on our sports I think is a good thing. But if you don't start again gendering or racing these grants, you're a discriminator. I'm sorry, but it's like, if a change room needs fixing, then give them the grant, whether it's a male change rooms or a female's change rooms, or if it's a disabled change rooms, or, so if there's a ground that doesn't have lights and they've got after hour kids sports, like at nighttime sports, then give them money to go put some lights in. Like, it's not that hard. You don't have to gender everything. So what it is identity politics at its best. And I find Labor government is absolutely phenomenal for it. I'd be really interested to see what would happen if you just removed all the genders out of their policies and have a look to see what they look like. I think you'd find that fail quite miserably. The McGowan government has today announced $12.5 million in funding available under the latest round of Community Sports and Recreation Facilities Fund grants. Delivering on its election promise, the McGowan government CSRFF grants will provide increased financial assistance to community organisations and local governments for the development of community sports and recreation infrastructure. So this is a really, really important one, going back to the local government thing. So because this is a recreation thing, so this should be handled not by the state government, it should be handled by the local government. So the local governments will be applying for this $12.5 million or a percentage of it. So let's say the local sporting club, let's say it's the Armidale Football Club, they've just merged with the Armidale Rugby Club. They've got a women's touch rugby team, but they've only got one shower in the women's toilet. So obviously you need to upgrade it. So you go, right, we need an upgrade in our facilities to handle the increased things. It is the women's toilets, but the guy side is fine. We've got sufficient, but we don't have sufficient for the women's. We need money. They shouldn't be getting the money because it's a women's thing. They should be getting it because they need more showers. It's as simple as that. And it shouldn't. So when they're applying for these sort of things, they should remove the location of the facilities, whether it's male or female toilets, or if it's a gendered facility. And yeah, I think those two things are really important because that would make it a lot fairer. Because if you don't know what shire or council it's in, you won't know if it's a Labor or Liberal seat or if it's a National. I think there's more National seats than like Liberal seats at the moment. So you can't do the pork barreling and you can't make it gendered. All right, this shower is terrible. We need an upgrade. Let's go do it. So simple as that. The grants are aimed to encourage more participation in sports and recreation through the development of basic infrastructure. Yes, if you've got good facilities, people will come. If you build it, they will come. Community groups and local government authorities can apply for grants towards projects such as new or upgraded playing surfaces, change rooms, ablutions, and sport storage. So this is a really, really important one here. Upgrade to playing surfaces. If you got a good playing surface, you're going to get a lot less injuries to knees, hips, ankles, stuff like that. So it's really important to preserve the health of our players until they get older. Having busted knees and hips and back, trust me, it hurts. Of the 12.5 million budget, 1 million per year for the next 4 years has been specifically set aside for projects that increase female participation in sports and recreation, such as unisex change rooms. Tony Booty, you're a sexist. You're putting 4 million a year over the term of the 12.5 million. So that's just under 1/3 of the budget specifically to women. And then of the remaining 8.5 million, roughly half of that's going to go to women as well. So effectively, you got $8.5 million for women, where 4 million, sorry, 8.25 versus 4.5 million is going to men. You're a sexist, mate. And so women do participate in sports. A lot of women. So are you don't put aside extra money for men to play netball? So, like, this is just stupid. Like, you're an absolute muppet on this one. You're a sexist pig. A further 10 million over the 4 years will be invested in a new club lights program. So is it 10 million or 1 million? 2.5 lights program. So that must be 2.5 million per year over 4 years, which would make it the $10 million over 4 years. Okay, I gotcha. Providing financial assistance to community groups and local governments to develop sports floodlights infrastructure. The CSRFF and the CNLP are administered by the Department of Local Government, Sports and Cultural Industry, so DLGSC. So here's the details where you get the applications from. I'm not going to bother with this because it's Andrew Booty and he's a sexist. And whatever. I'm not interested in what he has to say. And it's just more of what he said previously. I'm just conscious of the time because I am running out of time. I do need to get the kids from school shortly. But if someone's going to pander to a gender, sorry, mate, but you're a sexist. You shouldn't be pandering to anyone, and things should be done on a needs basis, not on a, oh, it's a woman's thing, so we'll give you more money. Here we go, more comments. Once my daughter has done her homework after school, I can steal the computer and give you a call about putting the chat on the screen if you like. City. Yes, okay, so Belldivers is actually classed as a city now. Awesome. Alright, thanks, Taz. Maybe this afternoon, like later, probably 8:30 after the kids are in bed, I'll give you a call. I'll take my phone off silent, so I'll actually get your phone call this time. So this is from the Honourable Roger Cook, MLA, Minister for Science and Research, and Honourable David Templeman, MLA, Minister for Tourism. Okay, so let's have a look here. Australia's largest life science conference comes to WA. Okay, I think I'm gonna like this. WA is set to host AusBiotech 2022, Australia's largest life science conference. The WA Government and Business Events Perth have committed $450,000 to bringing the event to the state. The conference is expected to attract over 1,000 attendees. Okay, so we've got 3 zeros here. Take the 3 zeros off there. So each attendee, to cover our costs, we're hoping that they spend $450 per attendance. So that's a super profitable event. So maybe we should bring back Rally Australia to WA. Okay, so I actually don't mind this. You know what? I'm happy for the government to pay for this one. I'm happy to increase my tax because I think tourism and science and research is a super important thing. Without these, we can't increase, we can't improve our level of comfort, society. New industries come from that, and from new industries, we get more money, more jobs, increase to the economy, stuff like that. But the other cool thing is with that, I'm hoping one of the things that I'm really excited about is the new solid state lithium batteries. So hopefully there's a bit of that in this because I think that will make solar power, wind power, and all those other things more viable. But I don't think I think we're a long way off yet. But it'll be interesting to see how we go. You know what? On the power side of things, let's just go nuclear. Easier. Western Australia will host Australia's largest life science conference with an annual biotech conference. Comes to Perth in 2022. Funded through the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation, the Western Australian Government has committed $450,000 to bring the event to the state, co-sponsored by Business Events Perth with additional support from the City of Perth. So ratepayers and the government are going to pay for this one. Speakers at Biotech 2022 will address issues. Now, I'm going to have a guess is going to be climate change, renewable energies, and a few other things. We'll address issues essential to growing commercial opportunities for the local health and medical life science industry, including regenerative medicine, gene therapies. So gene therapies is sort of like turning a boy into a girl. Biotech investments, precision medicine, and clinical trials. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with the actual environment either. Oh yeah, biotech. So it's like biology, technology, new drugs, and all that sort of stuff. Running in conjunction with the conference, the Australian Biotech Investment and Partnering event will provide opportunities for local companies and professional service providers to connect with key stakeholders and investors from across the country and around the world. So by the sounds of it, it's like a drug company fair where they can just push more drugs into the Western Australian community and try to sign up more doctors to peddle their drugs onto the people. Western Australia life science industry is one of the fastest growing in Australia, with a total economic contribution estimated to be $29.7 billion in 2020. So that's probably all the research into COVID-19 vaccines. There are currently around 40 biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies and more than 50 medtech and digital health companies based in WA, along with 22 research institutions and almost 65 services and supports organisations. So I'm wondering if these support and services organisations deal with things like drug overdoses and stuff like that. The 2022 Biotech Conference and the Australian Biotech Investment and Partnering event is expected to attract over 1,000 attendees, including international delegates. I don't know how the international delegates are going to get here. The borders are closed. They're not supposed to open until 2024, so that's going to be interesting. Maybe Bill Gates will get an exemption to fly to Australia in his private jet. The other thing is, like, at the speed at which the WA government locks down our borders, I don't know if doing it in WA is a good idea. Maybe South Australia. So comments from Roger Cook. Yeah, he is a cook. The Australian Biotech Conference is an exciting opportunity for our medical and life science community to showcase its competitive advantage, build networks, and secure new partnerships. God, I love coffee. This conference will bring together national and international biotech leaders and stakeholders, attracting speakers from around the globe and showcasing more than 100 companies. Yeah, it just sounds like a massive info commercial that's only cost WA $450,000. I wonder how much these companies are getting paid to come across. Life science is a rapidly growing industry in WA, so it's more than fitting that Oz Biotech 2022 is held right here in Perth. Medical technology that has the potential to improve lives internationally is being developed right here in Western Australia, and we look forward to sharing our industry knowledge and success around the world. That's one thing I have to agree with. Australia, just going back to the sports cultural side of things, have a look at the work that Dr. Fiona Wood did in regards to burns. You know, Australia and WA is leading the world when it comes to medical research. They're just absolute phenomenal. So yeah, I can't hate this. Like yeah, it's as much as I don't like Roger Cook. Yeah, this is actually a good thing. I'm glad it is coming to WA. Hopefully, Mark McGowan doesn't shut down the borders again, and hopefully Scott Morrison actually opens the international border so we can actually get some of these international guests in. But we'll have to wait and see. Okay, Tourism Minister David Templeman. Now that's one person I would hate to have his job out at the moment. So, how are you supposed to be a tourism minister when you can't have like international tourism into WA? Like he must have such a hard job at the moment. Like he is one Labor minister I do not envy. I hope he's doing okay. I think he's going to struggle a lot. With a rapidly growing life science industry, there has never been a better time for Western Australia to host Biotech 2022. We cannot wait to welcome international delegates back to Perth and show what the city and our local life science sector has to offer the world. Yeah, again, bit of fluff, but yeah, it's good because I like seeing these events in Perth. It really puts us in the spotlight in different industries. I think it was an extremely stupid idea to cancel Rally Australia in WA. I would love to see a real genuine effort to bring Rally Australia back to Perth. I know there's a friend of mine, Aaron, would absolutely love that comment. Oh, Basil Zemplis! We've got a press release from the Baz. The Honourable Rita Safiotti and the Honourable Paul Fletcher MP. Let's have a look. So I'm pretty sure Paul Fletcher is a Liberal. Minister for Communication, Urban Infrastructure, Cities and the Arts. So he's a federal minister. We've got the State Minister for WA Minister for Transport and the Mayor, Basil Zemplis, Lord Mayor of the City of Perth. Well, I should say acting Lord Mayor because when he made those comments about men have PPs and women have vagiges, his wife really ripped into him and we kind of saw who's the real Mayor of Perth. So it's his wife. So let's have a look at joint media statement. Rose Street transformation to revitalise the CBD. This is going to be awesome for traffic. Work is now underway to revitalise one of Perth's oldest street, Rose Street in Northbridge, as part of the $1.5 billion per city deal plan. The $22 million Rose Street enhancement project will transform Rose Street from a car-dominated corridor to a vibrant city destination, improving connectivity, transport options between Northbridge and the CBD. Interesting. So does that mean they're going to stop cars from driving down Rose Street? Stretching from Fitzgerald Street to Stanley Street, the project will deliver separated spaces and wider footpaths for pedestrians, alfresco dining, and protected unidirectional bike lanes, increasing safety and encouraging more people to walk and ride through the city centre. Other features of the Rose Street Enhancement Project include narrower streets with encouraging lower vehicle speed. You're just asking for someone to get run over. Oh. By making the streets narrower, the parking on the sides of the roads will give you less time to react when someone steps out in front of you. I'm not a big fan of narrow streets for that one reason. I can see an immediate safety concerns there. Unfortunately, one of the things I noticed in the city, people stop looking after their kids. Split second, a kid's dead. I'm genuinely worried that this may result in the fatality of a child. Obviously, the lower vehicle speeds makes it easier for pedestrians to cross the street. Go to Vietnam if you want to see how effective low vehicle speeds are. It makes it very easy to cross. Like you could have a million scooters going past you and you just walk and you get across fine. New street trees to provide shade, urban cooling and greenery. Yeah, I like that. New street lights and CCTV to improve public safety and support the nighttime economy. And new paving, street furniture and free public Wi-Fi to support activity. Nothing about public toilets though. That's one thing I've noticed Northbridge lacks. Like they do have public toilets, but they're not in very good condition. They're seedy, they're dodgy. Every time I've gone to use the Northbridge public toilets, I've found needles, I've found all sorts of stuff. So I'd like to see something done around that. Construction works are now underway and will be staged to reduce the impact in the city. The project is part of $1.5 billion city deal, a joint agreement between the Commonwealth, Western Australian Government and the City of Perth. More than $100 million has been allocated towards cycling and walking connections in the Perth CBD, including a much anticipated Swan River Causeway Bridge. Now, this one is a really important one. I used to ride a bike to work all the time. Yes, I was a cyclist. I stayed on the bike lanes. I didn't actually ride on the road. I was too scared to get run over by a truck like my dad did. So one of the biggest problems I had when I used to ride the bikes, I was constantly getting punches. There was always glass, metal, all sorts of crap over the designated bike lanes, to the point where it was pointless me riding, because probably once a week I was walking 12 kilometers home because I had a flat tire. That needs to be addressed. The cycleway, like your street gets swept all the time, the cycleways don't get swept very often, especially in near the casino. What is it, Canning Vale? Regularly the bus stops get their windows smashed in. There's glass all over the road. It's just annoying. These upgrades will help encourage more people to consider cycling to work and catch public transport. Well, you can't take a bike on a bus. Through the Perth CBD, funding will also be allocated towards programs that encourage more commuters to use active transport options while helping to reduce vehicle traffic and congestions. Oh wow, we've got more press releases coming through. Comments from Paul Fetcher. That's same fluff as before. The Morrison government has committed $47.5 million specifically towards the CBD transport plan to improve city active and public transport safety in Perth and increase the attractiveness and sustainability of the city. Now, one thing I'd like to see money allocated to, back in the day, you used to be able to hook your bike onto the back of a bus. So you could still, even if you were riding your bike into the city, you could still catch the bus, like the cat buses, to and from the city if you had a bike. Now they won't let you on the buses with a bike. You have to walk wherever you go. I'd like to see those hooks put back on the back of buses. I don't know if you can put on the sides because it makes the buses wider, but definitely on the back of the bus, or so that way people who do ride to work can still catch buses if they've got to go a long way. I think that's something that would be very, very useful and would help encourage a lot of people riding bikes to start riding bikes again. The Perth CBD has a lot of great and vibrant attractions, and we want to encourage people to walk and ride to the city more. And also, Australia's got one of the largest obesity rates. We need to start getting out of the cars. 22 million, that's fluff. This builds on our commitment to upgrade and fill the gaps on our cycling network across Perth CBD and broader Perth areas. Now, if they want to have a look at a really good way to fix the cycling problem, go have a look at Mandurah. Mandurah has a really good footpath network. Have to give credit to the Mandurah Council. Every single time they upgraded a road or they built a new road, every single road has a bike lane next to it. And they've done a phenomenal job. It's just really well done. So congratulations to the City of Mandurah. Okay, Basil Zemplis. One of our top priorities is to encourage more people back in the CBD to support our local businesses and encourage vibrancy. The Rose Street Revitalisation Project will transform the precinct between CBD and Northbridge and marks the start of $1.5 billion worth of investments in our CBD through the Perth deal. Again, just a heap of fluff. They're just like, it needs to be done. It's been a long time since it has been upgraded. So yeah. I'm going to quickly run through this one because we've just had one come through from the Attorney General, which I really, really want to get into. We've only got about 10 minutes left before I've got to run. So let's get into this one. Boom. WA Defence Industry in the spotlight to Land Force 2021. Sounds like some war games. Largest contingent of Western Australian organisation to exhibit at Land Force 2021. International industry events to showcase equipment, technologies and service. WA government has committed $350 million to support defence expansion in WA. I like that. We need to, defence contracts are worth a heap of money. It's a great way to get a lot of money into the state coffers. And we need a defence force, especially with the risk of China to the north. We need to start building up. yeah, there's just too much uncertainty at the moment in the world. Also, if there is another pandemic like this, we need to have a defence force that's capable of going, right, let's take control of the quarantine and make sure it gets done properly, because obviously none of the states have actually had a good hotel quarantine unless it was military interaction. So we need a good, strong military. Western Australia's world-class defence organisations are being showcased at the International Land Force 2021 Industry Exposition event being held in Brisbane this week. So why are we doing something? Why is this statement coming out? Land Force will run between the 1st and 3rd of June and will be the first premier defence trade show held in Australia since COVID-19. Well, we've still got COVID-19. Defence Industry Minister Paul Papliar is attending the expo along with 22 Western Australian defence organisations to host the defence stand. A number of our high-profile Western Australian business standing. So 15,000 attendees. One such company, Precision Technology in O'Connor, supplies military technical solutions and will be showcasing its expertise in delivering integrated soldier systems. Yeah, this is just a huge amount of, hey, look at me, I'm going to an expo. Yeah, this has absolutely nothing to do with West Australia. It's like, hey, I'm going to an expo, look at me, I'm so great. Waste of time. Sorry, Paul. Yeah, not a very good one. And now let's get to Attorney General Quigley. What has he got to say for himself today? Now, for those who don't know, I'm not a big fan of Quigley. He is supposed to be WA's top lawyer. And as everyone knows, lawyers can be scumbags. Keyword there, can be. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of lawyers, full stop. I'm really not a fan of Quigley. There's been a lot of malpractice within the family law courts that have been brought to his attention, and he's just dusted it off like whatever. He is partly responsible for the lack of transparency in the family law court and a lot of the problems that we're having. I put him down. I consider, this is my personal belief, that he is responsible for a lot of the deaths due to the family law court through male suicides and also the murder of women, of couples that are going through separation. I think this guy's pure evil. That's my personal opinion. And his his decision not to enforce perjury in the family law court, I consider is the number one cause of male suicide in WA. So that's how bad I feel this guy is. Okay, so barrister, Supreme Court Registrar appointed to District Court. Lisa Campbell-Tovey and Natalie Whitby. I wonder if she's got any relations to the Honourable Matt Whitby. Appointed Judge of the District Court, Barrister and Supreme Court Registrars to join the bench on June 9. Attorney General John Quigley has appointed Barrister Lisa Campbell-Tovey and Supreme Court Registrar Natalie Whitby as judges of the District Courts in Western Australia. Ms. Tovey has been a legal practitioner for almost 30 years. She joins the office at the Director... She joined the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution as a prosecutor in 1996 before becoming barrister at John Tovey Chambers in 2003. Miss Tovey was a member of the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, has held positions on the Osteopath Registration Board of WA and is a member of the Legal Aid Review Committee. Okay. She has lectured at Notre Dame University and College of Law in Evidence of Administrative Law. Miss Whitby has been Registrar of the Supreme Court for 11 years and has acted as a Master and Principal Registrar of the Courts. She holds a commission as an acting magistrate exercised in serious criminal matters. She was admitted to practice in 1996 and became a senior associate at Freehills until 2010. Miss Whitby has taught civil procedure, criminal law at University of WA. Miss Tovey and Miss Whitby will fill vacancy left by the resignation of the District Courts of His Honourable Ronald Birmingham and his Honourable Simon Freitag. The two women will take up their new positions on June 9, 2021. So I just find it a little bit interesting that two men have resigned and they've put two women in. Now, I'd like to see who else was up for consideration and did. So nothing against Miss Whitby or Miss Tovey. I genuinely hope they got the positions because they were the best person for the job. I seriously hope they weren't put into the position purely because, hey, we need to put more women in there. Because that's called discrimination. And Attorney General John Quigley is pretty talented at discriminating against men. So I congratulate Miss Tovey and Miss Whitby on their appointment and welcome them to the judiciary. Miss Tovey is an experienced advocate in administrative and criminal law. She is also accomplished in coronial inquests, disciplinary proceedings, and constitutional law. I'd be really interested to see what her stance was if she's got experience in constitutional law. The High Court's ruling against Clive Palmer for being able to come into the state when the law states intercourse between the states is free and uninhibited, and yet the state government blocked people from going through, which is constitutionally not allowed to do. It'd be really interesting to see her stance on that because uninhibited and unrestricted generally means you can't be stopped. So I don't know how they said, yeah, we can stop you because that's uninhibited. Miss Whitby is a qualified mediator and experienced in dispute resolution. As a registrar of the Supreme Court, she has performed many complex and difficult mediations as well as public examinations under the Corporations Act. Both Miss Tovey and Miss Whitby will be strong assets to the District Court. I hope they will be, but if they've been appointed by this guy, I very, very question it. I highly doubt it. Anyway, so this has been a massive Carter's Corner. I think we ended up having 7 or 8 press releases. A lot of fluff in there, a lot of crap, a lot of politicians being discriminatory. So I am going to call it a day here. So this has been Travis Carter for Carter's Corner. It is the 1st of July. Welcome to the end of the financial year. You're about to get absolutely slammed with advertising saying, hey, come down to Officeworks and get a cheap computer and all that sort of crap. No, I'm not sponsored by Officeworks. So hope you guys have a very, very enjoyable today. Get outside while the sun lasts because it's absolutely gorgeous out there. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you had fun. And if you've got any questions, make sure to reach out to me on the Facebook, YouTube. And if you really like what you saw today, please feel free to become one of my Patreons because it really does help with the equipment, the data that's used, streaming. This does actually cost money to do. So please make sure you jump on patreon.com/Carter's Corner. All right, thanks for your time and we'll see you